Well, there was a vision that Western man had to create an ultimate society where philosopher kings would reign, and where it would be just a great city for the free thinker. Some people call this Atlantis, some people call this other things, but this was an undertaking that the ancient man understood needed to be blessed by Poseidon. And then if you go not far from there to towards Shenley Park, you have Phipps Conservatory, but right in front of Phipps Conservatory you have this statue of Christopher Columbus. And this statue was actually built and sponsored by the Knights of Columbus, or the Sons of Columbus. And who was Christopher Columbus? Well, some have argued that he was a member of one of these secret brotherhoods, and that he understood that part of his mission, it really wasn't to discover America. There were already Native Americans here, and people had been coming back and forth to America for a long time. There's documents in the Library of Alexandria that clearly indicate that people had been to America before. No, he was going to found a new world. That doesn't mean to discover a new continent. That means to create a new government, to prophetically discover the location for the New Jerusalem, for the new heaven, for the new earth, which apocalyptically was understood to be the place where a new government would be that would ultimately result in a universal brotherhood of man. Isaac Newton speaks about this in his book, Observations on the Book of Daniel and the Apocalypse of St. John. He speaks about it, and not only that, he tells you what the new heaven and the new earth actually means in apocalyptic language, which isn't necessarily evidence for what it really meant, but it is evidence to help you understand what and how that text was interpreted by people in that time and beforehand. Clearly, this apocalyptic language was understood politically. And we tend to think about things spiritually and metaphysically, but the reason why things were put in apocalyptic language always had political implications. It was so that the state didn't understand what you were saying. It was not so that an angel or a demon didn't understand what you were saying. The thought of that was ridiculous. There was always state implications in apocalyptic language. And so, really, apocalyptic language is political code. It's spy talk. It's a cipher. And so to tie it back to the University of Pittsburgh, the University of Pittsburgh is the fulfillment of what many universities have attempted to be these places where true free-thinking mystics and masters could be raised up. The reason why other universities have failed, such as the Harvards or the Yales, have to do with state implications or other failures of these universities to meet their charters. If you look at Harvard's documents, it's very clear that Harvard was put together at first to raise up strong, quote-unquote, Christian men. But there's a lot of things that have to come together and converge to facilitate the continuation and, in many ways, the fulfillment of the Shem project. Things such as geometry and geology, things such as architecture, things such as timing and history, astronomy, all of these things. And so all of these things converge in a very nice way with the University of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a city where three rivers converge at a triangle or pyramid, and actually it's four rivers because there's an underground river, and this is borne witness to by a fountain, and so this is why Pittsburgh is called the city of three rivers. So there's a lot of energies there, and anytime you have a city or a place of dwelling that is related to or accessed by or approximate to four rivers, there is a spiritual implication there. The only other time that you see a place where four rivers meet is at the Garden of Eden.
Four rivers?
Garden of Eden there were 4 rivers.
No, in Pittsburgh, there are 4 rivers.
There's an underground river that flows up and meets underneath the point. Not to mention the Allegheny, the Monongahela, and the Ohio. This is well documented, and you can find out about this 4th river from a numerous. You could find out about this 4th river from many different sources. This isn't mystical mumbo jumbo. There's a great deal of documentation on it. You can research it for yourself. But the only other place that we read about that is contextualized by 4 rivers is the Garden of Eden, the Pison, the Gihon, the Tigris, and the Euphrates. And so it makes sense then for this place with 4 rivers to be the culminating place for what the ancients wanted to build their New Jerusalem. And so as you had different people coming to see this, because you got to remember the skyline and all that stuff wasn't really there at first, but when people saw this land and these 3 rivers and ultimately discovered the 4th river, there was an understanding that this is a very special place. And many religions understand this. This is why you have so many Hindus in Pittsburgh, and why the Hindu temples here. This is why you have so many Catholics here. This is why you have so many Jews here. Most people in the higher levels of their religions understand the significance of Pittsburgh, but no one understands it more than the architects behind the University of Pittsburgh. And this is part of the reason why you have the Cathedral of Learning built as a testament to what was really going on, and that is to bear witness to the fulfillment of the New Jerusalem as they understood it.